So recently, somebody asked how many times I'd been married. And I had to pause for a minute because I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm not proud of it. I'm not unsure, obviously. I know how many times I've been married, I would hope. But because the real answer is it's not a number, it's a story. And in order to answer it, I feel like I just, I want to go into details and explain myself. And so it takes a little bit of time. You can't just throw out a number there and be like, oh, yeah, this many. Because if I threw my number out, I normally get this look. So that's why. That's why it kind of took me a second to respond. But I've been married 3 times, and each person, I'm being completely transparent, has been married to a different version of me. And they were 3 different periods in my life. So the first marriage I was 17 years old, and my mom and I really weren't getting along very well, mainly because I was out of control. I was giving her a really, really, really hard time. And so I wanted to get out of the house, and I also had just become Pentecostal. And they basically say that if you have sex while you're not married, that you're going to hell. So the first marriage, that was the reason for it. So we were just both we're very young, not very mature, not ready for something like that. Some people are. Some people get married at that age and stay married forever, but we were not. And we had some pretty explosive fight that they just weren't healthy. It was not a healthy thing. So I had to leave. I had to get out of that situation. And, he was always a very nice and quiet person, completely unlike anybody I had ever dated before. So that was definitely a little different. But either way, that was the first marriage. I did say 3, right? Okay, so now the second marriage. Now I have joined the military, trying to get out of the situation that I was in, get out of the town I was in, because it just, you know, looking back, Bangor's a cute little town. I don't have a problem with Bangor. It was just it had too many bad memories there, and I just needed to get away from that. So my one of my best friends, Quinn, she said, "Well, why don't you join the Air Force?" And my dad, he pushed it a lot. So I kind of just took their advice and was like, you know what? Why not? I I can't do anything else. I screwed up in school and didn't really get the grades to be able to go into college. So I joined the Air Force, and I let Mother Air Force take care of me, and she did. She turned me into a completely different person for the most part. I mean, I was still the goofy person that I always have been, but joined the Air Force, and I'm going along, and I'm making ridiculous decisions still. Oh, another one of my friends got me this. Shout out to American Psycho. So I start dating the second ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband, and I got pregnant, and I wanted to be responsible. I wanted to do the right thing, to do what I thought I was supposed to do, what you're told in society all the time, that I am supposed to, or at least I was brought up thinking I was supposed to marry and have children and be a good wife and take care of everything like that. So in my mind, I thought, well, I'm pregnant, makes sense. I should get married. We started making all the plans for that, and then I ended up losing the baby, which was horrible. Just, I don't even really like thinking about it. But instead of me saying, okay, well, this has happened, and I don't think that we should still get married, because already I was a very jealous person, when I was younger, and maybe I am now and just don't really realize it, but I would get jealous over ridiculous things. And I had very low self-esteem. So couple those things together and it's just not very fun. When he got orders to Korea, I got orders to Guam. And after I had time alone, time to just realize that I didn't have to be with someone, then I decided, you know what, this doesn't make any sense to stay married. We fought a lot, and they were knockdown, drag out fights. He never hit me, nothing like that. But things would be thrown, and people were screaming, and just not, again, not healthy. I decided in Guam, I was like, we're not, I can't do this anymore. And it was kind of history after that. I still went to Germany. I was actually just worried that he was going to take all my stuff and set it on fire, or I don't know. It was a valid concern, and I thought, okay, well, he wants to try. I will go to Germany, and then I already know it's not going to work out. So that was marriage number 2. The last marriage, I never thought I'd get married again. In fact, my my mom told him when he went and asked her, which was really kind of sweet, and strange for me because I wasn't used to someone that was that traditional. But he asked her if he could have my hand in marriage, and she was like, "It's your funeral," which is hilarious to me. I'm sorry, maybe it shouldn't be, but it is. So he asked me to marry him, and I I thought he was my person. Um, we had so much fun in Germany. We had the best of friends. Like I don't I don't know how many times I've had a group, like a complete group of friends like that. And I just thought this is great. So we get married, and as soon as we get married, I got pregnant with my daughter. Came out of the bathroom, and I was like holding the little pea stick, and I went, Houston, we have a problem. But he wasn't even scared. I think he was happy, maybe taken aback a little bit. But so we come back to the States, and I have the baby, and she is perfect. And then life goes on, and she's growing, and we decided that we wanted, because I always knew that I wanted 2 children. Ever since I was 13 years old, I knew that I wanted to. So we decided that we would have another one. I wanted my boy. And we got pregnant. I was not worried about anything at all because her pregnancy, it was easy. It was actually very, very easy, which is easy for me to say because, I've done it already. It maybe didn't seem easy while I was pregnant, but we ended up finding out that he had osteogenesis imperfecta type 2, which I had never heard of before in my life. I hadn't even heard of osteogenesis imperfecta. I didn't understand it. And I thought at first, when we didn't know what type it was, I was like, okay, this is scary, but we can do this. We can do this. Life is going to be a little bit different, but we're going to figure it out. And then when we found out that he had the fatal type, I don't know, I lost it. We ended up going, and I had to have them remove the baby. I donated him to science so that hopefully it helps kind of just put me in this downward spiral. And then we got pregnant again. And some people would wonder, they would be like, well, why would you even want to try again? Or weren't you scared? But I think when I'm put in those kinds of situations, I get very stubborn, and I refuse to let it stop me. I wanted 2 children. I wanted a girl and a boy. I was going to have my boy. So got pregnant with my son, and I was pretty freaked out a lot of times, worried that something was going to happen. But his pregnancy actually went very easy. But I was very, very careful, with him. And we had him, and I had my perfect little life. And he started getting older and not needing me as much. So there was more time for me and my third soon to be ex-husband to actually be able to talk to each other and hang out. And that's when we realized that we never really talked to each other. I feel like we partied a lot. We had a lot of fun in Germany, but we never had these deep conversations. And I think I needed that. And I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying that as I got older, as I grew, as I had more time on my hands, I started realizing more about who I was. And sometimes it wasn't pretty or even nice, uh, but it was me. So those were the three marriages. And I feel like the first one didn't count. And I feel like the second one I did out of obligation because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. And the third one I thought was the one. That was what was going to stick. But that one didn't work out either. I wouldn't say that I don't regret the third one, of course, because I have my children and I wouldn't change anything because if I did, I might not have them. So I'll just take it as it comes, take the good with the bad, I guess. I will say that third marriage taught me that healing doesn't come from somebody else. It has to come from within. You have to do it. You have to want to do it. You have to want to change. Nobody can force you to do it. Deep within yourself, you know whether or not you're really in it. You're really trying. So I learned something from each of them. I learned from the first one that you should never get married because you're being rebellious or you're scared. I learned from the second one that you should not get married out of obligation because you think you're supposed to. And I learned from the third one that I'm a stronger person than what I think. And I don't need to have somebody take care of me. I want to have somebody there with me. And that's what I've found when I met my new person. So I don't ever plan on getting married again. I'm not doing it. I don't feel the need. I understand that some people do, and I don't negate that. I don't think that it's a bad thing. I just think it's not for me. So I won't be doing that again. So there it is, my three marriages. I would just like to say that if you feel like you're going through something, or if you are going through something, if you're going through love, loss, or loneliness, I see you. You're not broken. You're just becoming. You're becoming who you were probably always meant to become. And that's a good thing. So stay strong, take a breath, go for a walk, look at all the beauty that's around us all the time, and the little things, and the tiny little insects that are bouncing around in my garden outside, and your animals in the sky. There's beauty everywhere, and nobody can take that from you. So in the end, marry or don't marry. But just know that you don't have to have a perfect marriage to have your own powerful story. You're your own story. Every single thing that you've been through, the places that you've gone, the people that you've met, the people that I've met are just, they're a part of me. I remember every single one of them. And when I wrote Finding Bonnie, I wrote this. I relived every single page, every line, every sentence, all of it. I relived it. The good, the sad. It was like it was happening all over again. And that's okay. It's okay to relive it. I feel like every time I relive it, I learn a little bit more about myself, about what I can use it for as far as trying to help somebody else out or to impart some sort of guidance, or I hate saying wisdom because I'm just like everybody else. I'm human, flesh and blood, but I would like to think that the the things that I've gone through in life, good and bad, some absolutely wonderful, I can use those things to maybe make somebody else's journey just a little bit better. So, thank you for taking the time to listen. Again, if you want to give it a read, you can find Finding Bonnie on Amazon. I've written other books as well. Take time for yourself and love yourself because you're the best person that can.